on, dude.
Hey everybody, it's Ryan. Welcome back to How Farms Work. So today we are in the 8235R and we have the KUHN Krause Landsaver 4810 on the back. So what we're doing today is we are chisel plowing. Now this is actually not the first day chisel plowing with the 8235R. We hooked this up after we tried it on the 4640 that first day and it worked really well. Once we finished VTing, we switched the 82 over to the KUHN and I ran it pretty much all night until I got Rockville all chiseled up. So Rockville is done, and the next day Travis took it and he did the Burton farm, one of his farms, the next day, and then now we're here hopefully finishing chisel plowing. So Travis is taking the 4640. Dad pretty much all weekend has been using the 4640 and the chisel plow to chisel down at British. And Travis is going down to finish that up while I'm doing Doc's place now. Once we're done here, we're gonna go out to my place and we might see Travis when we're out there, and that's gonna be the last of the chisel plowing that we have to do. And then from there on, we're free and clear as far as tillage goes. We got all our chisel plowing done in the fall. After that, now, once we get everything chiseled up, we're gonna have FS come through and they're gonna put down smoke and hydrous for us, and that'll be our nitrogen. So what do you say we get started with the 82? My first thoughts on the KUHN, since I ran it that first night, I didn't film anything. Pretty much at that point all I was concerned about is getting stuff done. So I didn't want to take the time to hop out and get different camera angles and everything, but I feel like since the snow, it's supposed to snow tomorrow starting tonight, and then it's supposed to rain the next day, so I feel like we're far enough ahead now where I can spare the time to hop out and get move the camera around a little bit, sit here and talk to you guys. That first night I pretty much just wanted to go, and go we did. We got a lot done, and we should have all of our tillage done, which we're pretty proud of. And it's great having the KUHN here, because yesterday Dad was, well actually 2 days ago now, Dad was running the our chisel plow, and it broke down twice in one day. Can't get a lot done when you're constantly trying to repair what's breaking on the chisel plow just to keep going. So while we were working on that, Travis was going with this. At least we've always been moving. I mean, if we didn't have this thing, we wouldn't have gotten the tillage done by the time the snow starts. So we're counting down until then, so it's supposed to start sometime tonight. We want to get this finished. So we've been running it anywhere between 9 and 10 inches, as shallow as 8, depending on how it's running. There's some times where, like the other night, I started off, I was in 10th gear going 6.5 miles an hour, and by the time I was done I could only really run 5.5 at most. This field in particular is going to soybeans next year, so I want to chisel these stalks under, and that way in the spring we'll come through and hit it with the VT. The game plan is really just to only have to hit everything once with the VT in the spring. That way we can hopefully speed up our seed bed prep and start planting sooner. Now to start off, let's have a look at the hydraulics here. So number one is the raise and lower. We have that running for 6 seconds because we want it short enough to where it's not overrunning so much, because I do tend to use the coverage map and the GPS to know where I've been. It's just handy for looking back at the coverage maps, knowing whether or not I missed a spot somewhere around a strip or in the field that I got to go back to. So number two are the star wheels on the back, and once we get into the field, what we do is we pick them up and then drop them back down, and those are good to go, so we can cover that one up. Now we've got the coulters on the front, which are set to continuous flow. So we're gonna go ahead and put that to detent right there. They're gonna drop down, and then we can adjust the pressure using that gauge on the right side. How we want to be running the coulters is so that it just cuts the material up. You don't want it to be digging into the ground and throwing dirt. All you're really trying to do is cut up the residue before it goes back through the shank, so that way you don't get plugged up. Now, believe it or not, this chisel plow is actually a pretty good pull for the 82. While the 82 does have plenty of weight because it is an R series, to my knowledge, it is the lowest horsepower R series that John Deere's made. So she is struggling a little bit on the horsepower side, which is why Travis had talked about chipping it. That's a consideration for going into the future. By chipping it, we could easily add another 50 horsepower because these tractors, up to a certain point, I believe they are pretty much the same tractor. The only difference is that some of the series that are a step up are pretty much just ECM adjustments. The optimal speed that you want to be running with this is about 6 miles an hour, which in the 82 is about 9th, 10th gear. I mean, we can run 9 pretty consistently on the straight runs, but we're doing the outside of the field right now, so the turns are kind of tough. Just pulling down now. So let's have a look at the coulters here. So it looks like they are kind of cutting in. Like right there, you can see there's a line. Right here, doing a little bit of cutting, not a whole lot. I kind of want to raise the pressure on them just a little bit. So we're gonna come down here. I'm gonna loosen up this washer. And I'm going to watch this gauge. As I turn it, the pressure is going to go up or down. Now if I turn this counterclockwise, it's going to take the pressure off the coulters, as you can see there. So like I said, I want to keep it up around 50 bar. That's what I'd like it to be at. Kind of on the higher end. Lock that back down. You can really tell in the areas where you got a little bit more compaction because the tractor goes from pulling at a nice 6 miles an hour to down to 4. Oh boy. Now we have done our outside laps around the field, so I've got enough space to turn around. Now what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be offsetting by doing a straight track. So our rows go from east to west, pretty much right on the line. So I came down into the settings, I went into guidance, and I made a straight track. As you can see there, let's edit it. We're going to set the A point, which is here. We're going to use a heading, so I can just type in whatever degrees that I want the straight track to be placed on. So we're going to choose, maybe let's go a little bit higher than 260. Let's go 265. So yes. So now I've got a line that doesn't go straight with the corn rows, And the reason you want to do that during tillage, if you can, you know, with us, it's kind of hard with our contours, especially, but on a field like this, I can offset it a little bit. And that way you're not going right down the row. So if you place those shanks right down the middle of the corn stalks and you get the placement just right, you know, you're not even really ripping the corn stalks out of the ground. But if you can offset it, you're pretty much always crossing the corn rows, and it's gonna do a little bit better job at tearing up the field, which is why you want to offset it from your row. Because if you look out, straight out, you can see that we've been following the rows pretty straight. Therefore, I'm going to offset a little bit. It's not going to be as nice down along here because I'm going to have to do shorter turns, but I think overall it's going to do a really good job. I mean, it's doing a good job now, don't get me wrong. Look at the dirt over there. I mean, it pretty much speaks for itself. I'm really liking the job that it's doing. It seems like it's bringing up some huge clods in this farm. I don't think that this farm has really seen any kind of major tillage. I know that it was tilled before this, but I don't think it wasn't really chiseled with anything that could pull real deep. It's doing a pretty good job. I'm happy to be doing this on this field. This farm out in the middle, I mean, it yielded really well. What kind of brought my yield down was along the outside, like out here. Even like right out dead center of the field, it was yielding probably 220, 230, which is really good. But we're gonna keep going. I'm gonna get lined up with my straight track. Now, the 8235R does not have the auto steer activation, so technically I can't use auto steer. However, this does still have the demo on it, which I tend to use whenever I'm doing any kind of recording or filming with the drone. Makes flying a lot easier. I can fly while driving, don't get me wrong. I pretty much invented that, but I think that with, you know, doing it myself, I think that I can get a lot better shots, especially on a field like this where it goes up and down. I'm kind of envious of the guys with flat fields who fly the drones around, but I think we live in a gorgeous part of the States. So I'm gonna go into the auto steer activations and the activations, wherever that is, and you can see here what our demos are. We have an auto track demo with 10.5 hours left on it. We just activated that. We're going to accept it. And now when I flip this auto steer button down here, when I hit it, it's going to take over and do it all on its own. Let's get ready to rumble. There we go. Whoa, Big John, we are plowing now. Woohoo, boy. So, looks like we're burning about 12.5 gallons to the hour, 1.3 gallons to the acre. Engine temp there is 185 degrees Fahrenheit, 9.3 acres per hour at that speed, but we all know that's not how fast we're really going, because there's going to be a lot of areas where we slow down. There's some areas out here that actually pretty much kill the tractor. About 95% of the time it's running good, but there's always that 5%, which is why I don't lower it anymore. I mean, even right now it's pulling pretty good. There's been some times where I thought about making it go a little bit deeper, but then there's always that little 5% where you're just chugging along and she just starts pulling down. Boy, ain't that pretty. So far we've got almost 6 acres complete. Here's the performance monitor, so you can see a couple of our averages there. So far we've used about 15 gallons. My average speed has been 7 miles an hour. That must be counting when I was on the road. Now, I'm only going to be using the auto steer to fly the drone because I try to preserve as many hours as I can on that auto steer demo. Maybe some point in the future we'll get the activation but we were always advised to not get it on the tractor because then your auto steer activation is stuck on the tractor in case you want to sell it. That with GS3, it's better to buy a GS3 monitor and then put the activation on that, so that way if you buy a new tractor you can just put it on there. I should do another pass this way because I'm still kind of choked up down here trying to turn around very effectively. This thing has a long wheelbase on it, so it's kind of difficult to turn around real short, but the extended frame chisel plows, I mean, I recommend them because it's a lot harder to get them plugged up. Like with our case, just doing so many turnarounds with that thing whenever the residue's heavy. I mean, the auto steer works great. That's just working up awesome. Well, now what do I do? Time to watch Netflix. The real nice thing about activating the auto steer with the 82 is that now I can do skip passes. So it makes turning around a lot easier. I don't have to follow up with exactly the next pass. It gives me pretty much, if I skip one, just enough room to turn around almost exactly to where I need to be. So we're gonna do a skip pass in this next one. Now we're left with the 12-foot pass there, and I mean, I can draw between the lines fairly well, so I don't need to use the auto steer on that pass. So one of the nice things about doing this is that I can use the auto steer every other time, and then pretty much I just gotta stay between the lines on the other half. So that's one of the ways that I've been conserving the auto steer on this tractor. Doesn't get much easier than this, Rocket. Yeah. Back up the hillside now. We're doing these skip passes. So doing these skip passes makes turning a lot easier and it saves time, in my opinion. So I've been doing it myself. I haven't been using the auto steer on the way back up because staying in the lines is pretty easy. Except for now I'm using it because I just had to switch out the batteries in my camera. As I said earlier, Travis has been using the 4640 and our chisel plow down at British at his place. And he just called and said that the front disc gang completely broke off that chisel plow, so right now this is the only one running. Again, it's kind of a blessing having two chisel plows here, and it's really awesome being able to keep going while ours is broken down, which isn't much of a surprise because it has a tendency to do that pretty frequently. So we're looking into new chisel plows. I was feeling kind of like we had plenty of time, but now that Travis broke down, I'm kind of feeling the pressure. And you guys will look on the horizon back towards the sun back there, and that's the cold front that's going to be bringing in all the snow and rain the next 2 days. So we're probably going to keep going as long as we can until we're done or the snow starts. So I don't know yet what time it's supposed to start. I think they're calling it like 1 a.m. is when the chances are starting to go up. So my guess is that's the front of it right there. Time to race against the clock. have it. We just finished up this 24.5 acre field of corn. It reads 24 exactly, but this tractor isn't totally accurate as far as GPS goes. It only is on WAS, it's not RTK. So driving to the field gate right now, and then I'm gonna head back to the farm. I'm gonna fuel up, so that way we know exactly how much fuel I use, so I can pay for the fuel. And then we're gonna head out to my place and finish doing the ground out there. Now the cows are out in that field, but we want to get this done before the snow flies, and hopefully the snow doesn't stick around where they can get the smoke put down. So I just got to the field entrance. We're gonna turn the road lights on and head out. Someone's got to pee. The dog too. According to the performance monitor, we used 57.4 gallons getting there and back. Yeah, those young pups ain't got nothing on you, do they? Now, unfortunately, this video got to be a little bit too long, and I was forced to split it into 2 parts. So be sure to check back tomorrow at 11 a.m. Central for part 2, where we get the 4640 and the 8235R working side by side, all 465 horse. And you can also get a glimpse at what our chisel plow looks like with half the front disc gang missing. So, like I said, check back tomorrow at 11 a.m. Central to see if we beat the snow. In this video, I am going to be giving away a How Farms Work embroidered cap signed by your very own. All you got to do is just leave a comment down in the comments section telling me what you thought of this video, what you think of the KUHN Landsaver 4810. If you're excited for tomorrow's video, which I know I am, and that's all you got to do for a chance to win a How Farms Work embroidered hat. For those of you that are thinking about placing Christmas orders, get those orders in as soon as possible so that they can be guaranteed to deliver on Christmas. Right now, any order placed on our website today will deliver by Christmas. So anyway, just quick reminder about that. Yeah, that's pretty much it. So thanks for watching, guys. Be sure to check out all of our other videos. Be sure to stay tuned for tomorrow's video. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And don't forget to tell your friends about How Farms Work if you enjoy our videos. See you next time.